Okay, so we're on a live record. So
Okay.
Jason, you were asking the question about as far as changing the navigation bar, the navigation menu. Some people refer to that as the primary menu. All of those would be appropriate things to say and to be calling this. So yeah, what I want to explain to you, and it's great you've been watching these other videos, but most of the videos I would not be talking about changing the header area. So we're great that we're skipping around. This is an important topic. Let me share with you that this upper, and you may already know this possibly from other videos or your own knowledge, this upper area they call is the header, and that's it.
hmm
It stays here. And then the bottom part is called your footer. And in order to change the header or the footer, you actually have to go to a different area of the dashboard and the shortcuts to actually change the header and footer. Normally, what happens when you want to change the content or the body of the page, you'd end up clicking the builder, and then you'd click here, and then the page would open up. Did you already know that off by chance?
well, you said there's like two ways to do it. You can use the top drop down, but you can also do the far left, right? If you have the
Exactly.
dashboard up.
That's exactly correct. And I know you've got that higher education background experience, so that's exactly correct. So, and there's probably other ways that you could possibly get there as well, but I agree with you. So using the shortcut here, if I went here, it would only allow you or me to edit the content or the body of the page, which we'll do probably a little bit later on. But you were
hmm
asking the primary navigation bar. Well, in order to get that, again, same place, that type of thing, you get there usually one or two different ways, if not more. And underneath templates, because I've already created what it's called Beaver Themer. So if you want to hear back to the dashboard,
hmm
you actually create what's called a themer layout. And you can see right here, it's themer layouts. And I did not name these programs or the words, but that's what it's called. So with that being said, for a themer layout, you normally would end up going to clicking on themer layout, which I did earlier, a week, months ago, whenever I created the website for you. And then I created a new, and then I created a header. And you could create different headers for different pages or different footers for different pages. I think if you remember, if you can see this, are you able to see my Gmail right now? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see if I get here. One of the videos you may or may not have watched recently was this was one of my more recent clients. He's a mass spectrometry guy. And so on his website, again, this is old school. This is how his website looked in 2011, 2012. And I created a new website for him. And he said, no, I want it to look the way it used to look. I just want it to work better, and back up its security and stability and stuff. So that's the way. This is not the prettiest site, but he's a scientist. This is what he wants. This is what, I had to redo stuff. And it kind of
Right.
messed me up because I lost several hours worth of my time. So it's a lesson for you to learn also that listen to what the client tells you and then do what the client tells you. If you try to do too much, sometimes they don't want it. So what ended up happening here is that what I was showing you is he has two different headers. You can see this gray area is the header that's on his home page. But when you
hmm
click on the About Me page, let's give this a load here. You can see now this is the only header part. But then if you click
Okay.
on the home page, it's got different headers. So why would you want different headers? Lots of different reasons. You may or may not want the different headers, but you might. It's often best to keep it consistent. And so that your question was getting back to, let me close that, was about you changing the navigation bar. And so let's go to, again, you could have got there a couple different ways. Could have gone templates, header, and clicked here. Or since I'm here,
hmm
same type of thing. I'm going to go to the header. And you can see you could have ones that are published or not published. You might have headers for Christmas, and have Christmas decorations. It'd be Merry Christmas from Jason or, from
Okay.
some other
Yeah.
company. You got it? Okay. So the page is loaded. So where we're at here is this is kind of it's an extra step. You're not going to be changing this, but I'll just show you what at least you probably not initially. You could have the header be sticky so that it always stays on top. So it doesn't
hmm
scroll with it. And there's advantages to that. And we can look at that later. Sometimes you might want an overlay, which is kind of a shading of any color that you want and then you can type over the overlay. And the photo or the image is behind the overlay. And then you can again make the header be there on the whole site or different pages in particular or posts in particular. So, but let me get to your question if that's okay. You were asking about changing the primary navigation menu. And again, I could click, well, I'm going to click here in a second. The shortcut, which would have saved us about 90 seconds of time here, was my talking, was just to go right here and open the header. So now this is going to go ahead and get us to that same spot. And so what you're going to see is it's going to work the same way as you start to, because it's the same program, Beaver Builder, it's just Beaver Themer, because it's being applied to the theme. It's not just on the page or on the post. And let me share with you, I've said to my clients before, is I'm not a patient person. So right there, it was waiting for it to load. If you start clicking around because you're impatient, you'll sometimes I've caused myself problems because the page is still loading and I start clicking and then it doesn't get caught up or gets caught up or I've clicked too much, and so
Yeah.
you want to watch the tab to make sure that the page is fully loaded. And so I can see here as I start to hover over these different areas, it's just like the pages that you were working on before in the content area. When you hover over the different areas, they're highlighted and you can see that happen, right?
Yeah.
So with each of these different things that you've heard in different videos, if you hover over the wrench, you'll get different settings. And this would have all the row settings. So you would have the options to change the row to either be full width or fixed width or the color of the row or other things that you want to do. You could do something, again, we're talking about a row. So the Lansing Boat Show, which today is Sunday, right? You can still make it to the boat show if you want to go to the boat show. So what I did here, just to kind of jazz it up a little bit, is because now you have the eyes to see this, you can see this is a row, right? I mean, you can see this is two columns. It's a row with two columns. And then what I did is I just added a background on my row. It's a shape, it's a border that went this direction. And then on this row, again, because you now can see it from a website designer perspective, this is another row. And I just created this border on top of this row. So it's a row with a border. This is a row with a border. Now, that's different than a row with a background. This is a row and this is a background. And now, what's the difference? Well, different things, but the point is there is it. And when it shrinks down on a smaller screen, it would display slightly differently and that type of stuff. But there are different ways. This is a background, whereas this is a border. Yes, it's in the background. So there's different ways to get different effects that may look very similar. Nothing wrong with it, but just showing you. So sorry for rambling. Let me get to your question. I mentioned before about getting to the different wrenches and doing the different settings, the different editing. And so this is my guess. I don't know, like for you, I usually don't use the social media stuff. I don't have time for it. I think it's valuable. I think it's great. It can be helpful, lots of positive stuff. It's just not right now in much of my life. So like for me, if this was like my personal website, I would just delete this. It's a widget. It's a social media widget. You may decide to go ahead, and if you click on the wrench, and then this opens up, and then you can edit the icon, and then you can connect it with your Twitter account or your Pinterest or whatever other accounts that you care to do so.
Right.
So what I want to show you is that to get into your question finally, is that you were asking about changes navigation bar and the navigation menu, the colors. And again, primary menu, navigation bar, all could mean the same thing. You're okay with that. Whereas some of the other words, you confuse yourself or somebody else if you start using different terminology. So I clicked on the wrench. I'm at the primary menu. And if I click here, I guess there's a primary 2, and I'm not sure what's on there. We can take a look at that in a different place. But this is talking about editing this menu. The horizontals, the layout's horizontal. I don't know, have you looked at this before at all by chance?
Yes, I think that because I'm pretty sure I've clicked on a few of these. Obviously, I didn't.
Okay,
Not all of them I published. Obviously, I just clicked on them to see what they would do, and then I just did what you've done in some of your videos. You just didn't publish it, so then I didn't save it. So
okay. So you get, and again, this is your site, you can wreck it any way you want, and then we can eventually fix it, or we can just wipe it clean and reinstall a clean install. If you wanted to create, let's say a website for, a lawn care company next door, you could build it out, say, hey, I'll build your website for whatever you want to tell them. And, that tells you could build it and show them what you build. Whatever you do with this is up to you. We can always change the domain name and do whatever. But so let me just show you here. You asked about the color situation. So please, you'll need to notice up here, there's these tabs. And
mhm.
sometimes when you open, like if you open your screen, this might have appeared over on the right side, this bar. For me, it's
Right.
on the left side. You can move it around, you can anchor it, that type of stuff. And so this editing window then comes up, and what you want to do is change the style. So the general kind of, this talked about the menu, you were asked about that. Well, what you want to be asking about is the style, because it's how it looks. And this
Okay.
gets into changing the color and stuff. So let me just kind of run through this quickly, is that the menu background color, this is clear. When you see it like this, it's clear. So let's
Okay.
just to see what that means. And so let's just go pick a red. And so what that's showing is that the background was clear because the blue was what was coming through. We weren't actually seeing any color. It was
Okay.
clear. And so when I wipe this color out, now it's clear. To you, it
Right.
looks like it's blue, but it's actually clear. So you could play around with this lots of different ways, make it look different ways. The what happens with the drop downs, because sometimes you end up having more, you click on services and it drops on several different ones. You can go to your drop downs, oops, and then you've got your similar type of options, the background color for the drop down. You could change the link from being this is showing link color clear. I'm surprised, but it's probably a clear background and then showing
Mhm.
the white. But you could change the color on all this type of stuff by kind of playing around. And I would say, to me, when I've learned some of this stuff, it's like, oops, I made a mistake, got to go change it. Oops, that's not right, I got to change it. And
Right.
okay, now I got it. The background color versus the drop down menu versus the on some of these they have the link hover color cover. And so what that, I don't know on this one here if it did it, but you could change it from, well, let's just change it. Let's change this to, go on this, then cover color, that's already set. It's here, pink, and then the link color, let's do red. And then I'm gonna hit save. And so, oops, and I probably did not have any of these drop downs. Let me, What I just what I just did, again, this is how you learn, this is whatever. I believe what I was changing was stuff on the drop down menu and not on the primary menu. So let me double check. See down here on the drop down, this is what I was trying to show you. Well, you don't have any drop downs. A drop down
Right.
would be, it's a separate option. So I did this in the wrong area. So let me just go up here and it'd be a similar type of situation. So go links, link color being green, no, let's go red. And cover color. And then it's changed the link cover. Now you can see right now it's set for this green. I go here,
Mhm.
red. Now it's that color.
Okay.
Save. And again, we've got this on video, so while you're kicking back, you can't fall asleep. This will help you fall asleep a little better. But you can see what and then we hit save and publish just so we can see this here. Done and publish. And so what should happen after it's done loading the page, still loading, still loading. Hopefully when I hover over it, it'll change a different color. Okay, now it just finished loading. And Should have changed color, should have done something. Don't know what I did.
Okay.
Oh, I see what's happening. When I hover, okay, right now that about, the word is blue. It's a turquoise, the word about. And then when I hover over,
Okay.
it becomes like a maroon or a burgundy or something
Right.
like that. So I could have used different colors to show you what I did, but it is changing with the background color is changing and the link color is changing. This is not a good thing to do because it's not a good contrast. And that
Right.
I think what you want to be doing most of the time is setting up not exact opposites, but colors that stand out a little bit more against each other. So
Now, the home that seems to be outlined in red, is that just like a glitch, or is it going to be, I mean, is it something that we did that's stuck like that now?
right now, this is the page that it's on, so it's letting you know that this is the page
Oh,
that you're on. But if you
it's
did
highlighted.
not want that, you could have set the background to be clear, and then
Hmm.
it would be blue. But because it was set for to be red on the clicked on one, but there's
I like,
advantages,
okay.
disadvantages to having it that stand out that way.
No, no, no. I like that too. Now that I know it has a purpose behind it, then yeah, that makes total sense.
No, I'm gonna just show you something real fast here since we're still kind of talking about the header area, and then I'll take another question. This header has a lot of margin or padding around it. You can
Hmm.
see there's a lot of blue above your name and above the menu. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like a lot of padding, it's clean, it's uncluttered, cluttered, that type of stuff. What you can think about doing, again, every website's a little bit different, but this is more advanced. So when you watch it, you don't expect to remember this. You can remember somewhere I remember a conversation. Maybe it was the first videos. Let me check. But you could end up changing the margin or padding. So when you go here and you go to advanced, you can see that right here, it's got a margin of 20 pixels on the top. It has 20 pixels on the right hand side, 20
Hmm.
pixels on the bottom, 20 pixels on there. So you could change these. You usually want to leave some type of margin and padding because when it starts to get on different size devices, if you don't have any, sometimes they can get a little too close,
Hmm.
overrun each other a little bit. So keeping some, and I'll just show you here. I'm going to click save. And then this would have taken this menu down a little bit, but let me go to the row settings. And sometimes you have to kind of play around like where is this showing up? Well, I can see padding here 15. So let's knock those down to 5. And then now you can see that just went up and on the bottom here
Okay.
5 and then save. And so that you can play around with this. And you might want the look. I'm not saying you do, but sometimes you want this menu, like you like the way this is a different color, but you'd like not to have all this padding above it and below it. Well, if you play around with the paddings and margins, you can make this narrow so that it's not showing up with some blue and on top and bottom. But it's not
So
bad.
what?
It's just a matter of doing that. So
So if you put your mouse back over home, right there, okay, so the settings in that section only control the padding in that outlined area,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And what I
Okay.
did was I showed you the same settings basically when I went to the row. So I changed it in two different places during that
Right.
short conversation. You can see here on this one, it doesn't, I did not change it at all under that because there's a difference between a padding and a margin. And
Okay.
so, you may think about like in a book, your margins are on the side. Well, padding would be even farther away or on the inside, it means slightly different. So let me
Okay.
change the margins here. Let's change this to 5, 5, 5, and 5.
Hmm.
You can see what's happened here. We've made this even tighter.
Yeah.
So, and then again, you can play with that further, but yes, it's only controlling this widget or module when you're using that wrench. Now, where you could affect this, again, this is getting a little advanced, that's okay, is that sometimes you could make this one in the same, because this is two columns, one,
Right.
two, one row. Well, you can make one column taller, then this would cause some spacing issues because you don't have them set to the same size. But it's
Right.
not likely something you're going to run into in the first, week that you're playing with this stuff. So So
Okay.
how about, do you have another, I'm gonna hit discard, get rid of this, unless you need to save it.
No, go for it. You can just, yeah, it's fine.
How about another question, either about the header or something else on what we've covered so far?
Okay, I mean, so if you scroll down, if you go back to I have the page open on a different screen, so I'm just looking at it. But on the footer, when you look at the footer, are there
Okay.
two parts to the footer, or do you have two? I'm
It
sorry,
looks like there's actually,
rows?
I see three rows. I mean, you can, to me, it looks like one row is three columns.
Right.
And then there's another column that's here, that's one column. And
Hmm.
then to me, it looks like I either stuck an extra column in here. I don't know why there's so much space, but I would get rid of some of this. So that's, to me, it's an ugly looking footer. So
Okay.
I would go
So it's like
to,
too big.
it looks way, to me, it looks way too big.
Okay.
And the color, I mean, uh, yeah, and blue, it depends, if that's your favorite color, whatever, but you may want to go different color, different layout. So you go here to templates, go to footer. I could have clicked the pencil to make edits, but I just clicked footer. It's opening. It's taking a
Right.
minute. Still loading that page. It shows the header, but the footer's still loading down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna scroll down, but it's still loading. Okay, just finished loading. So you can see here again, the body is here. This is slightly different. I can see this would throw you for some confusion because this right here, you may, because you're a designer, and it would throw me, it has in the past, this came in through the theme as a widget. And so you have
Hmm.
to get rid of this somewhere else. Again, I'm in Beaver themer, and so I can change the footer area. But to you, when you look at it, it's like shit, how do I get rid of this? I didn't put this here. Well, the
Right.
reason why is because it came in through the theme. And so we'd have to go, so you can see I'm hovering over it, I can't get rid of it. So I'll show
Hmm.
you later where you play with sometimes a widget will get slid in there somewhere on a theme or on a template. So I'll show you where to get rid of some widgets to make it dropped in. So you
Okay.
asked about changing this. So I'm showing you, as I hover over this, I can see one row and two rows. You see this?
Okay.
Two row. And it looks like I put way too much space. I don't know what's happened here. So I'd click here and this is something I don't know what's happening like with Beaver Builder. I've noticed in their text editors that lots of times it's adding in a space. And I don't know what type of computer background you have, but I'm
Hmm.
not a coder. But
Right.
I do understand that this is means that there's a space. There's, you got it's like an enter mark, whatever. So what I can see, I'm gonna hit cancel. So I can see like this is too much space. There's a space here. So
Right.
uh and I don't know if you know, like with HTML or even Microsoft Word, that if you can paste it either with the code or the visually, or this shows you the code. Well, when I'm in the code, I can see it's got that space. So I'm going to highlight it, delete it, and now there should be less space there, is what I believe. Let me double check that. Nope, space is still there. Let's try that again. And it seems like it's a little buggy, this Beaver builder on their text
Hmm.
editor, that I'm not sure what's happening, why these spaces are being added. Now it just moved it up. Let's hope it stays a little bit. But the point is, you can go ahead and change this now. Whether you're using this to log in, it looks like the same type of thing. It looks like too much space. I'm gonna click the text editor, and I can almost guarantee it added in a space, and there's two spaces.
Yep.
So delete these, and again, maybe it'll work, on yours and not keep returning. But let's see what happened here. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't know. Can you see the bottom of the screen all the way?
Yeah.
So you can play with that if you want, but and so this is how you'd go about changing your footer. You could wipe this out completely, and since we're here again, it works the same way as Beaver Builder. you could go here to add a row. Let me move our photos over here. So I would start by adding a row, and then like this is 3 columns. So just to repeat it, I would go here if I wanted to, 3 columns. And then I could make this, this is 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns here. And then I could add a photo. And you've probably seen this on previous videos. This over again. Save. And then you can add, you can add it and style your photo. You can crop it. You can make it certain width, that type of stuff. Most of the time, you don't need to deal with that type of stuff. Cropping once in a while, sometimes a circle or a square, if you want to play around with something, usually you don't need to get too fancy with other types of widths and proportion stuff. And then probably with advanced, you're not likely at this stage to start playing around with margins like we were just doing. But this is where you start to do where it butts up against each one of the things or against the sides. But for the most part, you would end up going to the media library and then adding a photo, as you've seen before. I usually show you title attributes. Sure, doesn't hurt if you do or don't. It just means when somebody hovers over it, they would see some text. You need to add in that information, but there's nothing wrong with having that if you wanted to. Jason at the beach, or Jason at the museum, or whatever you wanted to say, or nothing, and then when they hover over it, it doesn't do anything. I usually don't add a caption, but a caption would appear underneath a photo. And then you could have it linking, if you're here, I am eating Baskin Robbins ice cream, and then have a link to the Baskin Robbins store, or whatever the case may be. But
Right.
you can edit your photos that way. So I'm gonna hit save, and then so I've did another row. It's fixed width. It's got 3 columns. I would just go here and then drop in different widgets into the different columns. Save, there it is there. And right now you can see it's fixed width. If I wanted to make it full width, so it spreads out, I clicked on, let me do that again. I'm sure you've seen this before, but I click on the wrench for the row, for this row, not for this row, the wrench for this row, and then the style shows up. It's full width as the background. And what does that mean? Do you already know all this? You're okay with it?
No, I think you did this for somebody else earlier, so I remember you working on.
Okay, so I'll just do this quickly, and sorry if you already know it, but at least it doesn't hurt to see some of the stuff again. So,
Oh, you're fine.
so what I've done here is you can see that the row itself is full width, but the content is fixed width. And sometimes you like that to make the page looks different, like here. But sometimes you want to make it full width. So you go the content to be full. Here it says content width fixed. And so you might want to make it full width and hit save. And now it's bouncing out here more full width. You see the difference?
Yeah.
And you can see here there's padding and margin. So if you wanted to play around with how it looks, you can get rid of the padding and the margin. Just depends on how you want your pages to look. And if you want to add a border, like you can see here, this is the green row. Well, on the Lansing Boat Show, I showed you that I had the different borders. So if I go to the wrench, and then I go to the style, which that's what we're in right here, and then I've already got the background this color, but the border, I can add a shape. And so I'm going to add a slanted edge. And so now what's going to end up happening is added in this gray slanted edge, but I want a different color. So, you can kind of play around. I should wipe this clean. Let me move this over. And then you can play, again, this gets kind of fancy. You might get a little screwed up. I don't understand all this. You've got an education background. You may have more knowledge of this than I do, but, playing around with the skewing, that type of stuff. So I might just kind of play, yeah, that looks okay. Or, no, whatever. So you can kind of play around with what you want on this. And I'm gonna just wipe
Right.
it out. But I got the background there, and that's just for the top border. But then if you check here,
Hmm.
again, I'm just showing you on the row. I'm on the styling the row. Because you can style each of the widgets with different options. And so I'm going to style not the top shape, but I'm going to style the not the top shape, but the bottom shape might have a midpoint. And so now it's going to show up here. I'll show you in a second. It's showing up in the gray. I'll just hit save and go with that. So you can see now the effect here is a midpoint that got dropped in there. I could have made this larger by playing with the skew or axis or whatever the
Hmm.
choices would be to make it look different. Like on the Lansing Boat Show, I had it go in different directions or whatever case may be. So it just gives the row a totally different look, and it looks nice on some websites not so much, but you've at least have those options. So
Hmm.
you asked about changing the footer, and so you've got the footer here. If you want to just get rid of it, you can just get rid of it, delete the whole row, and now it's gone. And
Hmm.
you can make it come back or whatever you want to do. But and then you've got options like there's here you probably have templates maybe that are footers. Here's footers that are already pre-built, a template that's already pre-built.
Right.
So you might want to just drop this in, let's say pen new layout. And this should come in here. Let's see where it's at. There it is. So it went to the bottom because I chose a pen. It went to the bottom of it. Whereas if
Hmm.
I had said replace it, it would have replaced this footer. And so that's what this is here. And so I don't like that. I'm just going to get rid of it, delete the row, and then go back to here. And then templates. These are some footers that are already built in, but there's more footers. I'm just going to hit save. Let me hit done and discard. You okay with that if I discard it?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then, but there are other templates that are things that are already pre-built. If you are
Hmm.
interested, I'll just show you real quickly that you can also get and download and use at a later date. At least it's good for you to know that they're already there. And maybe you've already seen this. I think even when you first log on to your page and into your website, it should offer you a chance to go to these templates. Have you looked at some of these already? Did I by chance?
I think I've seen you use them, but I clicked through them a couple times too, just to see what was there.
Okay. And so there's advantages, disadvantages of these. You're not locked into anything. You can always remove it, that type of stuff. But these have some pre-built websites that are there. Do you want me to click on it and go through it with you, or do you want to, you've already
Yeah,
done
go for it. I'd love it. Yeah.
let's just click export templates. But I was going to show you that there's other places to also get templates through this website that's already there. And I think I mentioned on one of the videos that you may not have seen this artificial intelligence. There's great potential. I played around a little bit with it. There's a little bit of a learning curve for me because I wanted more control and I got a little
Right.
frustrated. So at some time you can play around with it. It's not where I'm at right now, but I think there's obviously great potential. So I've got some websites that I haven't been built out. So this would be a great way for it to start. But let's just go to the classic the starter templates that you have available on any of the websites. So right now you've got this Jason Algra. I I think I grabbed one of these templates, one of the other ones originally for you. There's many more that are here. And this will take just a second to load here, but and you may have seen some of this in a previous video or played around yourself, but you can either search for certain type of templates, or as you look through here, it'll give you some options of some websites. It's not just that the templates there. Some of these actually have more of a website built out with pages that are already attached, and
Hmm.
and you're much more ready to go. You just have to continue to edit from there. And so let me think what else I can show you. You can search for a certain type of one. Let's see if I type in pet, comes up. Slow, slow, slow. Wow. There we go. So I believe it'll show up here eventually will be the dog groomer. What I have found with these the template stuff is like when I was on campus, is that the internet was so much quicker, showed up instantaneously. But some of these things have so much either graphics or code or whatever. It takes, you can see how long it just took to load. But this narrative I was starting typing the word pet. It gave a lot more than just that. But so you can play around, look at these. If you like one of them, the layout, then you can customize it from there. But every page is technically customizable to look any way you want. So, but these are great places to start. So I'm going to hit X out of this and show you another place to grab some more templates and stuff that's already built. Kind of X out, it's okay. So we're here, and then I believe under, 1 second. Just started templates is just for, PowerPack. I'm looking here if I don't have PowerPack installed on your website, and it's certainly possible. Was not intentional, but yeah. So okay, so give me a second here. Let me
No problem.
So well, what I so what this is what you probably already know this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. These are a list of plugins, that software that I've added to WordPress, and I don't know if you had a chance to look through that PDF that I sent you 1 or 2 days ago. That was produced by a company called Solid Security or Solid WP, but I just sent it to you recently. But it's very helpful, and it explains that WordPress itself is basically like it's the engine, and that then you can add different things to the engine to soup up your car or a pickup truck or a semi or whatever you're going to do with that engine. So this is additional software. These are plugins that I've installed onto your website to make it better, easier, more powerful. And what we're lacking here is one of the ones that I usually add is it's called PowerPack. And so we'll take a minute and get this installed here if we can real quickly. Plugins and browse. If it takes me more than a minute, I'll do it another day, but just check something. Great. And so this has just additional options, those modules and widgets that we were looking at before. PowerPack, is probably one I use more often than the ultimate add-ons, but there's two different ones that have dozens and dozens of, it's installing this plugin right now. That's what I'm waiting on, of these widgets and modules. And so PowerPack has some great ones that, many that I often use. And what it also includes with that is some options to pull some templates from the cloud via probably their website, their cloud, rows that are already built, headers that are built, footers that are built, different parts of a page that are already built. Then all you have to do is you can save them or download them to your site and then put them on any page, and then you would just edit them from there. So did some of that make sense?
Yeah.
This thing is still looks like it's just about it says it's updating here. I don't know if you can see the top of the screen. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and activate the plugin. And I don't know if you've seen, there's tens of thousands of plugins. You have to be careful because a lot of plugins are either they're not secure, or they're corrupt, or they've been out for a long time. They haven't been updated, or they're not compatible. So you can do almost anything with a plugin, but not every plugin is worth doing anything with. So we're here. Let me see if we're probably going to need a license on this. So give me a second. It's educational for you because sometimes, you'll be at a site and you'll want to install a plugin to update it or to do something. And sometimes they're free, sometimes they're paid for, sometimes you need to register it, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to see if I can grab a license here. I think what I'm gonna do, Jay, is I'm gonna pause the screen for a second here because I'm gonna show all these licenses. Not that I'm worried about you, but because this will end up going up on YouTube, I don't want to post all these licenses for everybody else. So,
You're fine. Go for it.
give me 1 second, see if I can pause the recording. Hopefully they'll let me do that. Yep. Oh, nope, what did I do? Pause recording. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Okay, and then activate the license. So after this, hopefully it'll load properly, active, then save changes. You can see across the top here, this is like one of the ways like you could start I'll show you here in a second. So it's just done loading, okay. Maintenance mode. Excuse me. They have different templates. So if you had something under construction, you could drop in. Well, this allows you, like sometimes I've had a client not ready to show their website. So what you can do is you can click yes under maintenance mode. And then what happens is that you're coming soon, or whatever the case may be, is that you, if you're logged in, can see everything on the site, but for the public, no one else can see anything. All they see is a page that you would set that would be a coming soon or under construction. What I want to show you here was under templates. Again, just to give you an idea, again, to show you how quickly and easily, eventually, if you decide to stay with this, and hopefully you will, that you can do things and it doesn't have to be starting from scratch every single time. So as you can see here, this is just under construction, some examples that you can just quickly just drop the whole page in and make a few changes so that that way your client's happy and that, the public's happy with what they're looking at. You could change login pages, but then you can start getting into these other pages, food delivery, rock concerts. These are more coming soon. It's kind of alphabetical, I believe. Scrolling down, adventure, photography. If you have a client who's a photographer, you get hired by a company that's a car dealership, needs somebody to help with their website. They could hire you to add a page and edit some pages. And so, all of these are just, and it doesn't have to be like this page looks this way. It says low and handy, but once you activate it and put it onto your page, you can change whatever part you want, the words to say, the photo to be. It's just that you like the layout or the colors, and even all of those, you can quickly change anytime. So what I was just showing you here as an example, again, for our conversation and for your training, is that you can start from scratch each time, and we'll do that in a second, but you've got hundreds and hundreds of pre-built, and these are page layouts. If you go here for rows, as soon as this will load here in a second, and we've already been talking about rows having different columns, and then you put different widgets or modules in the different rows. Well, what this company has already done for you is they've created rows, if this shows up, hopefully. What it's explaining here is that they're grouped together. And this may or may not show because of the speed on stuff. Let me see if I refresh this. But this has 14 different templates that are, so your headers are already made to look very different. And let's see if this comes through. Yeah, some. So what this is saying is that there's 14 different examples, and these are headers. Since we were just talking about that earlier, I'm going to click on that in a second. But you can see there's all types of row templates that are already made. Like here's frequently asked questions. So if you got a doctor's office or some other type of, client that has questions and answers, you can download this. There's 5 different templates. So one of the templates looks like this, and then they would have other templates that you could quickly and easily edit and change. And then this has, again, features. So, the features for a company, or how testimonials, this would lay out testimonials 10 different ways for that for a row. So you could choose how you wanted the row to look, and you'd have at least 10 options. This content, this was very helpful Because if you think about, you're building a website or editing a website for a client, they've got a bunch of content. This would allow you to just put the row there and then put their photos, change some of the text, change the color. And you've already got it built. It looks great. Probably take you 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most, depending on if they gave you all the information. So,
Right.
so let me just show you. So that was all under PowerPack that we just installed that. So that's another way you get some stuff. There's modules. Let's see what this shows here. I'm not sure what this shows. Oh, I think we've already got all these activated. Let's see what this shows up. Yeah, we've already got all these activated. So you could turn some of these off. Like if you had a client, if I had a client, you had a client, you want to give them more control, but you don't want them going crazy. You just want them to
Mhm.
make a couple changes. You could turn off a lot of these options so that we won't, you or they or whoever wouldn't be messing with it. So, and again, this was header footer options, and these were pre-built header footers. Let's just take a quick look at this. Because before we looked at templates, and let's see what this was for the header footer. No, there was something different. I might showed you this before. For setting the different headers on different pages. And we don't use this feature with PowerPack. We use it through Themer. Let me pause. I'm starting to ramble and just go on. What questions or thoughts do you have so far, Jason?
No, everything you're going, I'm trying to absorb as much as I can. I didn't have too many other questions about the site itself. I'm gonna take a look at it real quick. Um, when you did, okay, so the main body of the page, there had the background theme photo that I put up with the beach. You made that go full screen. It originally wasn't full screen. How did you do that?
Anyway, got back to dealing with a row. And are you seeing my screen okay?
Yeah, seeing it great.
Okay. So again, getting back to I'm gonna go open this page lots of different ways. The quickest way would just be to click, because I'm on that page, just click on the word builder. I could have scrolled
Mhm.
down, gone to the word home. I could have gone over the dashboard, but I could, because I'm on the page I want to open, I just click builder and now the page is gonna open. And so what I did per your question, we already kind of went over the whole header situation. This page is still loading. Still loading, almost done. I'm just watching okay, now I just finished. So your question was about editing this. This gets into right here, the row setting. And then this
Mhm.
was full width or fixed width. And so here, this was fixed width. So you can see this is
Yeah.
the same row, but it's a fixed width row. It's not full width. But now the content, now let's make the row, which the photo is in the background. Okay. And
Okay.
so the row would be full width, but the content, if we look at it, is still fixed width. You see how much
Okay.
space is over here? So let's move this. I'm
Yeah.
going to move this up 1 second if I can get a hold of it. Oh, that's frustrating. So I'm going to make this full width, and you can see what happened there.
Yeah.
So the row is full width and the content is full width, but it still has margin and padding,
Hmm.
75 on or 30 over here and 30 on the right, and then 75 and 130. So, which it helps it look more like looks better, but you can play
Hmm.
with that margins and padding, but that's what happened here. So
Okay.
US, I'm going to cancel that. That should go to here. Let me take it back to row settings and then make it full width. So I'll go to the style and I'm doing the row is not fixed width. The row is full width. The content is fixed width. And then I would hit save. But I think you were the one who entered the beats chain. Is that what you said? Did you do this?
I put it up there, yeah, but
Okay,
you
great.
it was
Yeah.
fixed, and I believe you went full.
Yep.
And so
And so
I
that's
like
what
it
we have to.
full.
And so then you can see here, this is the button. And so
Right.
when I edit the button, I can see that the link isn't the right color because the link color is the same as the, when I look at it, it's just a white block, it's a white, whatever. So the text color, I probably want to change that to something dark. There it is. You can see. You see that
Gotcha.
okay?
Yeah.
And then, and then the hover color might be different, like the hover color would be, just go with a green.
Sure.
And then that's it, save. And you could change all that however you want it to look.
Hmm.
Hit done and publish. Really, the wrench just allows you to make the decisions and do the editing that you want. And see here, as I hover over it, starts out
Yeah.
purple, hover color green.
Yeah.
And then this row here, these photos are kind of small. I tend to make this row would be a full width so that
Hmm.
it's content spreads out, if you wanted to use this type of look or layout. I was going to show you how to get rid of these widgets. Not that you'd run into this, but you could. So when I go here to my dashboard, and you can see widgets right here, I'm going to let this open so I can show you where else you'd find widgets. But this drops down because a lot of websites are built straight using widgets that way. So it's
Hmm.
not how I do it, but you think some themes are full of widgets. So and then I think under appearance, yeah, and then widgets here. So that's another way you could get to your widgets. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because I don't think you want those there. I'm going to get rid of them. It's taking a second to load. Offer to do blocks. The answer is no. I'm going to go to my widgets. So this is kind of like the default widgets that were loaded with one of the you or I probably did a starter template or starter theme or something, but these kind of got dropped in here. So I'm going to see if this is where I'm looking for something. See if this is where I'm going to find it, hopefully. No, I was expecting one of them to show up here, but it did not. So I absolutely was expecting them to show up right there. So since they did not, let me go to the page where, Chuck, wasn't it the home page that we were looking at that?
Let me see. Yeah, it was the homepage.
Okay. I thought, based on where they were placed, I was assuming came in through a widget and we were not able to get to it through the theme or footer area. So we just see something right here. Almost loading. Come on. Yeah. So you can see here, this is in the body and I'm able to change the body. I knew I would not be able to change the footer. And so
Hmm.
my troubleshooting is saying I need to figure out where is this being fed in from. And so this is my guess then based on my lack of options is since this has the Astra theme on there, that this got put in through the Astra theme. And so I'm going to hit done. Again, you're getting kind of a jump around type of training stuff, but sometimes with website stuff, it's literally troubleshooting and you got to
Hmm.
learn something and figure something out. So I don't want you, if you're going to do this, for a while to make money and that type of stuff, that I don't want you getting frustrated thinking you should know everything because sometimes you have to figure it out and
Yeah.
it's troubleshooting. So this was under what I mentioned to you before, is I saw that this was possibly coming up under the Astra theme. So I'm going back to my dashboard. And this again is not something you normally Jason would have to be doing, but you never know what you're gonna deal with. So here, and I'm gonna look here after a second if this loads, and then look at my dashboard or my customize. So let's check. There must be a way that this fed in some footer information. Let's see. I'm not saying this is what it is, but let's take a look. There was probably a different, I saw under customize, that may have a different option to turn off or deactivate that footer thing, but in the customizer. So the customizer is something that will show up often. You can get to it different ways. It's actually across your dashboard. Normally you see the word customize, and different themes will use the customizer differently. And so this is bouncing me over here. So let's take a look and see. So I can see here the copyright is here. So let me show you again what happened. The customizer is this whole thing. And so sometimes you may use this to have to get to something. And so they have an area here that's called footer builder. And lo and behold, here's the copyright. And that's what the issue is. I believe that this was dropping. There it is right there. It was dropping in copyright. You see it right? 1 second. Right here. You see copyright, the year, the day, powered by. So we want to get rid of that. So I'm just going to go back and let's see if we can do a right mouse click or how we get rid of this.
Can you, on the middle of the screen, can you just hit the X
You
next
know
to
what?
copyright?
Jason, great idea, great thinking. You are 100% correct. So thank you. I'm looking over here and you look in the obvious spot here, click on that and it's gone. So that is exactly correct. So I'm glad I told you a long time ago, there's more than one way to do something, and somebody else may tell you a great way, and it might be a better way than what I would have taught you. So thank you for saving us time there. So we just got rid of that thing that I could not figure out how to get rid of in the footer area.
Yep, it's gone. I just refreshed the page of mine looking at it. It's totally gone. That's awesome.
That's great.
All right.
You did it. You did it. So nice job. One of the things I'll mention to you is that I'll just show you real quickly here. So I'm going to close out the customizer. And you may decide you want to start a blog or something like that. Maybe you already know, as far as like with a page, you go, did you create these or did I create these?
You created them, if I remember correctly, because there's a whole video on the example 117.
Okay. And so do you know how to create a page already? Have you let me show you?
I did see you. I know that there's a video posted for the
Okay. So let me just show you
example.
I'll show you real quick and then you'll have the information. So what you do is you just go to page, and then you end up going to, I'm sorry, you go to new. You could have gone here. There's always more than one way to get something, but to keep my thing simple for me, I go to new and then page. So, and then this loads up. Now you could have got there different ways. And if you go over here to pages, you'll see all of your pages, and you could have got add new from there. You could have gone here to pages and then probably added a new one from there. But right now it's added a new page. And what this does is because it's the first time you're creating the page, it takes you kind of to it takes you to the back end, to the back end of the page. And so here we'll end up clicking, let's click the about, let's make it about, because that was one of the pages that you wanted. And so, and let's just, since it's your website, let's put about Jason, but I'm going to show you that that's what this is titled, but it's going to show up in the menu, but then we're going to get rid of the word Jason, but the page title's still going to stay the same. It's just not going to show Jason on the menu because it's already on, it'll make sense once you see that. So anyway, we've just named the page about Jason. You could have the page title appear on a page on a page. I normally don't do that because you get into formatting issues. I'd rather start the page out blank, but the page needs a title. But it's there, so I just turn off the thing so it doesn't show the page title. There's another place that we can shut it off so it automatically doesn't show. But if you're ever in a spot and you create a page and the page title is showing up, it's like, I want to turn off the page title, This is where you turn it off one page at a time, but you could shut it off globally. But for this purpose, I just shut it off. Now, I don't know whether you've watched any of the videos about search engine optimization. Do you know what that is?
I saw a couple of times. Aren't you just basically trying to give keywords to make
keywords
it easy
for
to
search
search
engines?
it?
Yep. And so that when somebody's searching for a certain topic or subject, that it would more likely be found. So And then you just type in here a key phrase, 1 or 2 words. And you can watch this in another video with somebody else. With this information here, this is what shows up on the search results pages.
Mhm.
And whatever you type here shows up here. So if you're working for a client that sells hats or t-shirts or some other product or some other information, this would help for that page. Now on a post, it's the same thing. And then for a product, it's the same thing. So if you were doing t-shirts, you would add information, 100% cotton, this ply, this thickness, whatever weight you'd want to add, and that would show up here to a limit. But this is helpful information for search engines, and companies will hire people, they do all the time, for people to enter in search engine optimization information. So you could do that even like if you go to Upwork or some of these other online job sites. If you know how to do search engine optimization, this is valuable for businesses because they need this type of information. So what we've done so far is we created a page. We've titled it about Jason, but the page is not, this title is not going to show up anywhere, but we need it for organization's sake. And then we'd enter in some other information here about Jason. Oops. And then what we go ahead and do is we launch Beaver Builder. Now there's other options, but for our purpose right now, we don't need to go into those. What we're doing is we're launching Beaver Builder. You've probably already seen this with videos I've created with Kelly and other clients, is we're just going to basically create a new page. Then you title that the one it was about is what we decided this was going to be. So still loading. This is the footer area that was on the bottom of this page. I guess when we hit delete, we did not remove it. It's still there, which is fine. But the only part we're going to be able to edit is not the header and not the footer. We can edit the content. I can go here and start to drop in a row, and I can build the page 1 row at a time. So here's 1 row, and then I drop in a heading, and then I could say about Jason. So here it is, general for the words about Jason. And I can change other information, the style, how does the font look, the color, the centering, the size, bolding, all different types of things. Most of the stuff you don't need to do, but if you want to check it out or do something for a client, you can do that. So what I did was I obviously closed out, I did not hit save. So this was a row that I created. This was a row. This was a column, I guess I created. So let me drop in that heading that I wanted to drop in. I guess I never hit save. So here, and then about Jason Allegro. And then I did not hit save. So now I click save. Hopefully it'll show up this time. There it is there. Could edit that. Okay, and then I want to go here. And then, you know what, I don't have time. I got to hurry up. I got to get out of here. I'm just going to use a template. So instead of using landing pages, I use content pages. Then what do you know? Here's an about page. Let me be patient while this loads. And so I can just click it. Now it's asking me, do I want to replace this whole page or do I want to append it? For your benefit right now, I'm just going to append. It's going to put it below the existing one. Here it is. Here's the about page. And now all I have to do is edit it. Obviously, I don't need this row anymore. So I'm going to get rid of this row. And now here I am with this about page. And then I would just start to edit the different parts of this page.
Yeah.
And, customize it however you want. This is that overlay that I was telling you about that kind of shows the colors. So if you want that's a style. If you think about what's causing that, well, it's how it's styled. So if you scroll down to here, we'll see that there's an overlay right here. Here's an overlay gradient. That's pretty dark. So I would lighten that up.
So you
Lighten this up. I use these gradients a lot, make stuff a little different. So you saw what I did there. You can see the photo a little bit better
Yeah.
with, and you can edit, your whole background from here. These are photos. If you click on the photo or the wrench, it opens up the editor that you'd be working on. So I'm sorry to ramble again. How about a question or thought?
No, I mean, I like the way that that looks and everything, the spacing of it, and I like how fast you're able to shove it right in, and then yeah, you can just edit it. It really
Yep.
doesn't take much time whatsoever.
So let me show you here. So you had the about page, well then you end up creating new and then a new page. The page while it loads. We're just gonna do this one more time, then I'm gonna show you something because we're gonna now these pages that we just created are not connected to the primary menu.
Okay.
So we need to, what we did was we created them, and you could create hundreds of pages or dozens, whatever number of pages you wanted. But if you don't hyperlink them or connect them anywhere, they're there in the website, but they're not connected. They're not linked. So let me just do services and la la la. Okay, so and again, we already talked about adding your key phrase, adding in a snippet or your meta information. Click launch Beaver Builder. It's coming up here in a second. And you can see I titled it Services Law, but again, we don't want that showing up. And I'll show you what'll happen and then how you correct it. Because we had about Jason, and since the website's about, it's already Jason's website, we don't need to say about Jason. It's already obviously it's about Jason. So we want to remove the word Jason from the menu, but we still want it in the title of the page because you could have about Jason, about food, about cards, whatever the other about pages are. So this page here I called services. And so let me just see something real fast here. I don't know if this will happen or not. So again, this is I'm really showing you a shortcut here, but I typed in services just out of curiosity. Here's menus. If I drop this in, this isn't what you'd want, or this isn't what I was intending, but it would. This drops in a menu with the prices, then you just kind of edit the menu, whatever case may be.
Hmm.
But I wanted to show you here under the templates, and then under content pages, you could have had save templates like I showed you before, where different templates were in the cloud. I showed you under PowerPack that there were dozens and dozens of templates that were already built, including rows. I showed you where those rows were already built. Well, those where they would be when you go to get them is they would be under here, but we didn't
Okay.
save any of them. But I was showing you have the option to use those. What I was showing you here was not the landing pages, but the content pages. And then here's services that's already built out. So you just click it. This is now again, you do the same type of thing. You just edit your page. It's already a nice looking page. Clients would be happy if they have a website that looks something like this. You change the colors, change the font a little bit, or the text, obviously, and clients
Yeah.
are happy. So let me just say done, because what we've done is we just created 2 pages, but again, they're not connected to anything because we created one page called About Jason, and that's not what this is. When it first and we called one that was Services Law, and that's not what this is. When I click on Services, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, the page is still loading. Wait, one more. Okay, so the page is done loading. So when I click here, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not linked anywhere. And I can see here, okay, so it's not going anywhere. So what I want to do is I want to go to the menu to edit the menu. Here's that word customize, like I told you, customizer or customize, but that's not, you can get there. That's not usually where I go to get to the menu. I like it a little better because it looks a little different. If you go here, I also could have dropped this down and gone to appearance. It opens up I don't like the way the customizer looks when you're dealing with the menu. It does the same thing, but it doesn't look the same. So here I am now and it's the primary menu. There's that secondary menu. Here's the menu. You have services and about, but they're not linked anywhere. They're linked to pages that, URLs that don't really exist at this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, remove it. And the about, we don't have one that's called about right now, so I'm going to remove that. But we do want to add ones that we just added. Here's services law, and here's about Jason. So I click add to menu. They show up here, but I want to move this around a little bit. So I just drag and drop it, move it here. But again, now what happens is I'll just save it so that I can show you. Let me save menu. And you'll see the problem and why we have to quickly fix this, or we'll fix it. Still loading. So when I go to the website itself, visit site, and we look at the menu, we're going to see about Jason, or Jason, and we'll see log. So you can see that's not what we wanted. So let's go. We got to go back here. I'm going to go back to my menus. And this is where the title shows, right now the title shows up there because that's the page title. And for organization's sake, that's what you want. But here, you can click and edit the menu for what actually shows up on the menu. So now we didn't change the title. We didn't change the title at all. We just changed the menu. Scroll down, hit save. And you can have multiple menus on a page. Footer menu, a food menu,
Right.
dessert menu, whatever the case may be. So looking back at the site, hopefully this will work. So we can see here about and services, click about, should take me to the about Jason page. How can I see that? You'll see right here in a second. It'll change in a second. Here we go. So this is the page that it took me to. This is the page that you and I just created a few minutes ago. Click on services. How do I know it's going there? Check the URL right there, la. And this is the page services that's just open, and we just created this. So for you, as you build a website, your website, you'd go to new and then create different pages. You'd lay out whatever page you wanted to lay out, either going row by row or pick a template or combine them. You can start with a template and then just delete the rows and then add a row, or however you move the rows around. It's all up to you. So I'm just going to click here for a second on our services page. And these are just rows that are built in Beaver Builder. And so you can either edit, delete, or add, or move, obviously move around being part of the editing part. So it's almost done loading. And in a second, as we highlight over these, as it loads. Wow, that took a long time. So now we can see this is a row. And actually, I take this, this is a row. Okay. Sometimes what will happen is that when they build out some of these templates, it's one row, but they made it look like it looks like multiple rows. Now this one here, I can see unfortunately, they made each one a row. The one thing is that that one of these other plugins called Ultimate Add-ons sometimes makes it where it's when you delete the row, you wiped out 3 rows, because they bunched them together. That's not the case here. So here, if you don't like this row, you just, delete it, remove it, and this row disappears. And then, or if you want to move it around, you can drag it here, and then let's move it to the top. Wow, come on. Still moving, still moving. And drop it right here. So now you can see I moved that around. And if I want to add a different row, 6 columns, knock it in here. And now if I put it here, it's in the same row. See what happens? This now becomes 6 columns, but it's in the same row. If I put it here, it becomes a new row. You see what's happening?
Yeah.
Whereas if I put it here, let's see what happens. It'll show a row. But if I do this and I put it here, it's in this row. You see what I'm saying? It's 6 columns, but it's not in its own row. And that's
Right.
what I
It's
was
now part
explaining
of that
to
old
you.
one.
Pardon me?
It's now part of that row.
Exactly. And so this is where, again, you could get messed up sometime. You're working with a template and you knock it out and you lost way more than what you expected because you didn't realize that
Mhm.
those columns were part of the same row. So I'm going to
Okay.
get rid of these. And then, I can change it from 6, just get rid of any number of columns that you want. That 6 row became 0 rows. This is still, or columns become 0. This is still a new row with 6 columns. I'm going to delete that. And so here we are at this page. So I'm going to hit done. And I'll hit publish just for the heck of it. So for you, Jason, what you may want to do, if you decide what pages you want, and you could just use Word or an email program, you want a home, about, education, interests, whatever you want your pages to be. And then on your pages, you can add your content, being
Mhm.
photos and text, and make it look any way you want. Another time, I won't get into it now tonight, but for creating a blog, we would create a new post. And then a post, as you probably already know, is different than a page. And the post would appear either on a blog or on a page that you wanted. But they're very similar, but they're not the same. But I'll let you, if you don't know about it already, you can learn a little bit more about the difference between a page and a post, and that will help you as you think about blogging. So,
Okay. Now,
how about questions at
and
all?
I
Or
could I find that when you were talking about the adding the difference between a post and a page, is that in that PDF?
yes, it is in the PDF, and then
Okay,
it's
great.
also in some of the videos. Um, Off the top of my head, I can't remember which ones, but some of them I do talk about the post versus I think I may go back old ones related to like the dog pet works an animal shelter. But anyway, you'd have to look through a little bit. But the answer is
Okay.
yes, it's definitely there. And I can go over it again in the future with you, next time we connect. But it's very similar, but you set them up slightly different and they get displayed differently. So
Okay. All
there's
right.
probably another, I think we just spent an hour and a half together. I don't know. But and I know we had the technology challenge there, but probably, for our sake, maybe another half hour to show you how to do the blogging and stuff, or at least get you started. But
Okay.
do you have questions at all on the stuff we've either gone over or stuff that was burning on your mind so far? Or
No, nothing right now. No, I think I mean, like I said, my first couple of questions were just pretty basic. Just, you know, the difference between kind of seeing how you're looking at it and seeing how I'm looking at it, and then how I changed some stuff, and then just making sure I knew where I was gonna start looking on how to change some of these other background pieces type thing.
sure.
But no, nothing, nothing in particular right now. I'm gonna
Okay.
definitely play with it some more, and you'll probably notice probably some changes in the next week or so because I'll take some time to to see what I can do.
Well, let me know that sometimes I check your site. Lots of times I don't. I've got too many sites to be, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know what I'm looking for, but if you tell me you've made some major updates, hey, please check it when you get a minute. What I would say, Jason, is that this is kind of your your practice, and so if once like you can demonstrate that you know how to change photos and text and headings, then I can pay you a little bit to, if you're interested, if you're available to do something on another site. And okay, you learn a little bit more, changing some text, changing some words, some
Okay.
photos, some page layout. What this hopefully this will do for you is that this gives you enough to practice on your site, and then it's kind of like okay, this is what I've done and I know how to do it. I know how to change text.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, like an example, you wouldn't know this off the top of your head. Again, I'm not expecting you to know everything, but at least for here, I think that hopefully after our conversation today, you would be able to get to this page, change the text so it's change the background if you wanted to, or a
Right.
different layout or whatever the case may be. What you would not know, and I'll just show you this quickly because it's helpful to know, is that we can do all this stuff, and I'm going to open up the builder. And I only started doing this recently, and usually only if the clients pay me more money because it takes time to do it, but it definitely makes the website look a lot better. And I'll just show you this quickly. In weeks or months, you may want to know more about it or do it yourself. Well, what you can see here is this page finished loading. The builder loads, and you can see that there's a thing that's called the global settings. So give me 1 second. Okay, up here.
Mhm.
And you can go here to responsive editing. And so what this allows you to do is you can see on a large screen, the breakpoint being, this resolution dimensions, is this how the page looks? Well, to me, this is kind of large. So what I would do here is I would style the font down so that it doesn't spill onto 2 lines. Again, this gets advanced, but this shows you the power of stuff. So now I change this to, let's just say to here to 40, 4140. And then I hit save. Okay, so to me, that looks better than what it did before. Now, again, this isn't, as you start to show me, hey, Mark, I can do some of this stuff. Well, you're not going to know how to do this off the top of your head. I can help you clean up a site or page, but can you do some of the basic stuff? But
Mhm.
I want to show you here then, if you check, this was the breakpoint for large. Well, if you go to medium, let's take a look and see this same type of problem. Number one, I can eliminate the words that would save me the hassle. But again, this is why I said the client has to pay me a little bit. For my less expensive clients, I don't want to take the time to do this on every page and they're not paying me that much,
Right.
But if they're paying me, then I don't mind going through and then I click here, I edit, go to the module, I look at the font size, same situation. I'm going to go to the size, let's stretch it out. Okay, that looks fine just for the heck of it. Hit save. And then I'm going to do the same thing, testing it on another size device being small. And fortunately, that looks okay. I'm okay with that. Then I scroll down, take a look at these other ones. I probably want to center these. So I probably go through, click the call
Mhm.
out and center the stuff so it looks a little different. As I told you before, I'd probably go with the larger image to make this full width. And then this was the footer area. So then I hit done, hit publish. So that's the beauty of this is the power is that you can make the websites look exactly the way they want. Now, hopefully this will update correctly because I thought I ended up changing that. Be hilarious if it does not, did not. So let me, I thought I had saved. So let me go back to Builder. And maybe because this is so large, it was at the 1200 at the breakpoint that
Mhm.
did not take it when it was
Well,
above that. Go ahead.
wouldn't it also, because there's a box, isn't there like a column? I'm sorry. Yeah. There's
Quite
something
possible.
to the left.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, right
Yes.
there.
Yeah, I was thinking about the size. Yes, you are correct on that. I was thinking just the size of the font, but you are correct. That would be one of the ways to adjust it. I had thought I was expecting it to respond automatically by changing that. But I think, and just let me take a look at this, but yes, you are correct, as if because it's another column, I could stretch this out and it would fit. You are
Okay.
100% correct. What I was expecting was this to change the size based
Mhm.
on responsive editing. So, and I could see here that, yeah, you see up here, you see where it says 1200 and
Yeah.
it changed it. But because it was
Mhm.
larger, that's not an option. Oh, extra large. Okay. So Jason, I just learned something. Never done this before, but that's exactly what the situation was. I've always just used large, medium, and small. And so now I changed this. It's the same thing I just showed you. Change the size down. Let's just go with 40 again. That's fine. So did not know that, never paid attention. So this gives me now if the resolution's over 1461, it's probably going to do the same thing. It's going to be larger again. So, but for our sake here, that was educational and helpful. And it may or may not shrink down based on the resolution itself, but let's take a quick look.
It did.
So So that's the troubleshoot. That's where again, you have to kind of figure out what's going on. Something didn't look right. You get
Mhm.
frustrated. You got to go back and change it. Something's not sticking right. It's a caching issue or whatever. So, questions or thoughts?
None. This is good. I like it. This is fun. Thank you.
Okay. So what you end up doing, Jason, you'll be creating your new page. Again, probably not post right now, but you could play around with it if you want to.
Mhm.
It's almost the same, but probably learn a little bit
Okay.
more. Practice with just building pages. Build as many pages as you want. They're not going to show
Right.
up anywhere until you go to the menu, and then, or you could hyperlink them elsewhere. Like as an
Mhm.
example, you could hyperlink this word if you've gone pages. Oop, I'm in builder. Let's open this up. You can do hyperlinks, and you should do this with a website eventually, is you can hyperlink different words at different pages, and it's just called cross-linking. So this is loading, and then I'll let you finally go here in a second, Jason. So what you end up doing is I want to launch Beaver Builder. And then my text editor box will open up, hopefully. And all I'm going to do is just, you've worked in Microsoft Word before. You've probably created hyperlinks, possibly, before. So this page is still loading. And so what you'd end up doing is, the reason why I showed you all this is I said, you can create all the pages you want, but they're not going to show up anywhere unless they're on the menu. Well, that wasn't totally correct, because lots of times you create pages and you don't want every single page in the menu. My gosh, if you have 50 pages, you'd have 50 things on your menu. You don't want that. You want things linked. And so as an example, let's just open this text editor box. Let's go to general, and let's just highlight whatever words you wanted. And then here's hyperlink. Again, if you've used
Mhm.
Word or PowerPoint, you may have seen this before. You click here, and then it says type the URL or paste whatever you wanted. Well, let's just contact. I don't think we have, well, I know what we have, services. So what they started to do was, because I was trying to remember what pages do we have created, you could link them to pages that are already in your website. And you can
Right.
see two of them have the word services. Or you can link it to, www, .msn.com, and hit save. And right now this is a hyperlink, it's underlined. It doesn't have to be. You can style your hyperlinks all different ways, etc. Hit done.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why I took another minute to show you this is that you can create all the pages you want, and they don't have to be in the menu. You can hyperlink them from anywhere in your site, so certain words, examples, whatever the pages you'd want them to name them. And the way you edit each of these widgets, you already know using the reg. And how about any questions?
No, nothing right now. I'll probably think of a couple in a couple days, but
Well, that's totally great. And what a thought is, you may either write them down or type them out. Keep a list in an email or in a Word document, whatever. As you
okay.
have questions or you have thoughts, how do you do this? I want to learn how to do that. If you have requests, questions, and then I'd be happy to go over those with you. So,
No problem.
well, how about this? Today's Sunday. Why don't you play around? There's no pressure from me. After you have time to edit your website and you feel proud, you want me to take a look at what you've done, let me know. We'll schedule a time, and we'll continue our conversation. I can answer stuff for you. If you send me stuff, you can send it to me and I'll answer it. If you have questions you want to get a note ahead of time, just let me know that, and we can connect for a quick
Okay.
thing. Sometimes clients will send me something, I'll create a video to answer their question. So that was what I was
Right.
doing with another guy, the mass spectrometry guy. So whatever works, I'm flexible. Anything
Okay,
else?
great.
Okay.
Nope.
Jason, we'll talk
That's good.
soon. I
Thank you.
kind of wish you well, and have fun, and
You too.
enjoy all the learning and the opportunities that hopefully this will bring for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care, Jason. I'll end the meeting for